We are Calavera Studio, a small game development team located in Bolivia in South America. We've been part of the game development industry since 2016, when we published our first game, Mini Doom, a retro platformer made as a tribute to Doom and all of our favorite childhood games. Since then, we've participated in several game jams and won a couple of awards with games like Ahayo, a game inspired in the Bolivian culture and the life of the mineral miners in the Andean mountain range. Having had so much fun while developing our first game and having learned quite a bit in the process, we eventually decided to make a part 2. That way, we could apply everything we learned and thank the small but loyal group of fans that the game gathered on the internet. Mini Doom 2 was launched on 2018 and its last DLC at the beginning of 2020. The game was well received by the community, which has grown quite a bit in the past couple of years. The game recently passed the 100,000 downloads and more than double the views along all the pages the game is available for download, like Itch and Game Jolt among others. Despite that particular project being officially finished, quite a lot of people among those who still play it, from speedrunners to those that just discovered it, tend to ask mainly two questions. When is the mobile version coming out? And when is Mini Doom 3 coming out? Even though the answer to both questions is technically never, we have serious plans to make a spiritual successor, so we can keep making the style of games that our fans want to play, but with our own ideas and IP. Nevertheless, we have considered that we must invest our time in one last project before that, so we can accomplish a couple of very important objectives. Firstly, to give one last polish to our skill as developers and as a team, and then to give the fans the mobile game they've been asking for several years. We think classic arcade and console games have several characteristics that apply very well to modern mobile gaming. The games have relatively tiny learning curves, they can be played in rather short time intervals, and they lend themselves very well to microtransactions. The game we want to make is a 2D action platformer in the same spirit and tone as our previous games, but it would have roguelike elements like procedural levels and random power-ups. The player would gather different power-ups in order to upgrade and modify its attacks in a way similar to games like Gradius, Raiden or R-Type. The levels would gradually become more and more difficult until the player is eventually defeated. There will be many occasions where the player has gotten what they consider their perfect combination of power-ups for their playstyle, so obviously they are not going to want to be eliminated. So, if they die, the game will give them one last chance to continue instead of having to start from scratch. Just before the player dies, they can choose to watch an ad. If they do, they will be rewarded with an extra life. Within the game's story, that would be the representation of the mental and physical corruption that they are trying to escape from, so it would have a limited number of uses, unless they clear the corruption in specific areas within each level. Once the corruption is cleared, they regain access to the possibility of getting extra lives. Even though our first game was released when we were only 2 people making a parody of our favorite games, our team has nowadays grown to 4 permanent members and several collaborators that add to a sizable amount of experience in visual and interactive narrative, graphic design, illustration and animation, sound, music and game design. So we think this project is well within our team's capabilities and skills. To download our previous games and learn more about us, visit our site at calavera.studio or visit our page at itch.io. And thanks for your time.